Okay, Steve, now we were talking about 3 veneer. I think I'll start off by showing you one. 3 veneer is a section that you can enter in the national competition. You only use 3 veneers. They can be as big as they like, but you only use 3 veneers for everything that you see on the front, and on the sides you can use something different on the back. Okay. The main thing about it is when you start to do the pictures to make sure you've got enough of each veneer to finish it, because I have had that problem before. Now this started off as a picture like this here, which was a drawing done by an American artist called Dave De Matteo. And just a quick point on that, I always acknowledge if I've copied somebody's artwork, even if it's a photograph, I acknowledge them. So this is always called Timber, after Dave De Matteo. He was very pleased with it, he liked it, and I've never had any problems with anyone refusing to use, to enter the picture or anything. Now,
because there's copyright, so this is...
Yes, there's copyright, yeah. And you must be very careful of copyright. If you ask if you always acknowledge the artist, and if the artist is still alive and you write to him, I've had occasions when I haven't been able to get hold of them, but most of the time you can get hold of them, and they're pleased that you're doing their picture, because after all, their name will get noticed in a couple of other things as well, on the website or like today on here. Now, I obviously wrote to Dave De Matteo after I'd done the picture and said, look, this is your picture. I had a lot of trouble getting hold of him. He's in California. But he wrote back and said he was absolutely delighted with it, and he told me, which I thought was a very interesting story, why the picture was called Timber. Timber is the name of his friend. This is his old friend, his drawing that he did of an old friend, yeah, who at 60 is still in the Rodeo. He's still doing work in the Rodeo. So that was quite nice to get a little bit more of a story behind it. So having got the drawing, and I mean, you look at the drawing like that and you think, well, I could do that in 3 veneers. That's quite difficult to work out pictures that you can do in 3 veneers.
But what makes you say that you could do that in 3 veneers? Well,
because I realised that if I use certain woods, like this wood in the background is called American gum, and American gum has this wonderful variety of colour and tones throughout it, all the way. This is all the whole of this background is American gum. And then incidentally, the hat is American gum. She's slightly different tone there because it's taken from a different part of the veneer. This part here and all this part here is all American gum. I think some of these little bits are as well. Okay. And then the next wood that I used was rosewood, which I've used for, this is quite a hard wood and quite a difficult wood to use, but it's very satisfying. You've got all these different shadings in it, and that's one of the main reasons when you do a 3 veneer picture, you pick wood that has the biggest variety of shades within it.
And you've got to make sure you've got enough.
And you've got to make sure you've got enough, yeah. Right? So this one here is a mixture of the two. There's some rosewood in it. There's also some American gum. And the third piece of wood is what I used for the jacket. And for the life of me, I can't remember what the wood was called, but that had some natural, if you look there, can you see that? There's a natural dark gradation in the wood there.
Yeah, which is really nice. Just and there.
Yeah, so I've got 3 pieces of wood which I know are going to work. 99 times out of 10 they work. Sometimes you get a bit frustrated, you can't work, but this one worked out well. In fact, this one came second in the 3 veneer competition. So there's the actual thing I work from. I always try and work from, rather than do a trace, I always try and work exactly from it. You can see where I'd mark various things rather than try and find the perfect bits of wood. I mean, this little bit here is obviously a bit tricky. You'll put shadows in. If you have to put shadows in, then put them in. But you can see that I've got little bits of tone which are naturally occurring in the wood.
Yeah.
And that's what you try. That's what you should always try and do. And the only criticism I've ever had of this picture is that you can't see his eyes. Well, I poo-pooed that anyway, because it's A, it's not on the drawing, and B, if I put his eyes in, it looked very odd indeed, because he's a shadow. But it wasn't because I was scared of doing eyes, which are difficult. It was just a question that I knew it worked. It worked.
And did you say this won something?
Yeah, it came second in the 3 veneer class.
Can you remember what year that was by any chance?
No, I can't remember. A couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
And you've done other 3 veneers?
I in the next veneer I'll show you another one. I'll show you one of a more famous person, if you like.
Okay, let's go on to that.
Yeah. Okay.